Hello everyone. Today is Friday 5th of July 2019. We are at Baba Ghai's house in Newcastle and we are about to make another video as an introduction to a bigger video that's coming to you after this one. I was just sitting with Baba Ghai here. We had a discussion about everything that's been going on, and we had the chance yesterday to, for the first time, to meet Baba Ghai's daughter and son-in-law, Shivani, and we spent some time with them, and it was a very nice occasion to meet them both and see them with Baba Ghai. Baba Ghai, has Shivani gone back now to
oh yes, she
London?
has gone back to London, because she was a bit upset because I didn't go with her.
All right.
But I told her, I said, give me some time.
Yes.
Let me decide what I want to do.
Okay, Baba Ghai.
Because, like I said, I want to make it a shrine.
Make this place a shrine.
It's a shrine.
Okay.
And secondly, there are a lot of things to be sorted out.
Yes.
See,
Okay.
because I'm disabled, my pension, my bank accounts and everything.
That's right. Okay.
And because what I said yesterday, I didn't attack anybody personally.
Of course. Yes.
I gave the facts.
Yes.
See? Because what I've done, and you know,
Yes.
was with my Guru's blessings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Because what he said was, on the last day when I came off the machine, half an hour before that,
Yes.
he said, go, finish the job,
Yes.
and then I will come and collect you.
Okay.
What was the job? The funeral pyre.
Funeral pyre. Okay.
See? So what I'm going to, now I'm going to start that.
Okay.
Because I'm healer, hearty,
That's right. Yes.
I'm well enough.
That's right.
I smoke Churchill, Castro,
That's
and
right.
all the fakis.
Easily. and Baba Ghai, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I remember your state from last year when you went to India compared to now. To be honest with you, a lot of people, myself included, we never thought you'd come back from India. That's how bad you looked. You were shaky.
Yeah.
You couldn't stand on your own feet. You couldn't take a dip in the river. And without people around you, you couldn't even walk. And I was always wondering when this funeral pyre is going to be carried out and taken forward. But now people saw you yesterday walking on the street with a swagger, approaching the restaurant with no problem at all. And I think your health is
See,
good
I
enough
had
now.
more phone calls today than I had in the last 3 months in one day. People they were happy to see me walking.
Walking, yes.
They wanted to know whether I'm going to go away.
Yes.
And I said, no, I haven't made up my mind yet.
Okay.
Because I thought, well, I will have somebody to look at it, but so far, touch wood, I haven't got anybody.
Okay.
Because, see, I want somebody, and secondly, I will get the message from him.
That's right.
Who is the right person?
That's right.
So far, I don't think I've got the right person.
Okay.
So, if I've got the right person, I'll make it a shrine.
Of course.
Like you see, people come, I haven't seen them, they come sit there in the temple,
That's right.
they wish for something,
Yes.
and they come and thank you.
Absolutely. They say their prayers
The wishes.
like other shrines.
Yes.
Like other shrines.
see?
That's right. Okay, so now that you're in a good health and you're feeling fresh, you're feeling up for it, you found the energy, so you think this is the right time now to kickstart the funeral pyre campaign again.
Exactly, that's what I'm going to do.
And make it happen.
And touch wood, this year, I think, God willing, and with the blessing of my Guru and my parents,
Yes.
I think I'll achieve whatever. Because
Fantastic.
I'm a fighter.
course,
And I will get what I go for.
We've seen that
And
happening.
this time,
Yes.
with the blessing of the people, with Guru's blessing, I think I will get the funeral pyre thing.
Excellent. So
Now what I'm going to do is,
yes.
put the video here,
Yes.
because we lost the case
Yes.
in 2009 at the High Court.
That's right. Yes.
And the people can see that, because see, if we don't, when I lost the case,
Yes.
and I didn't give up the hope,
That's right.
because my Guru said, you will win, go to the High Court. And if I wouldn't have come, wanted at the appeal court, I would have gone to the Court of Human Rights.
Human rights, that's right, yes.
See?
You would have got it done.
But got what I wanted.
That's right. So they knew who they were dealing with. They knew, unless you get it, you're not going to give up.
No. Jack Straw, you know what his statement was?
Yes.
No, we won't allow that in this country because it's very abhorrent.
Abhorrent. Wow, what a word, yes.
A case was, he was begging him because they both were lackeys and both were, I don't know whether they were gay or what, but I don't think they were, because one was a Jew, the other was a Indian.
Yeah.
See? And so was Said was.
That's right.
See?
That's
And
right.
look what happened to them. All forgotten, nobody knows where Keith was is, and he was very influential man.
That's right. Okay.
I don't even, that's a God's truth. Even if it's my enemy, he has hurt me, I won't wish him bad.
Of course.
I will just pray and I'll say, you do the justice. Touch wood, so far he's done the justice.
That's right. Wow. Brilliant. Brilliant.
So, if we don't go and get married in the church,
yes.
why should we have our cremation in the church? One.
That's right.
And secondly, they've allotted the land in the, see, after winning the case, I'm still not getting the land.
Yes. That's right.
They've allotted the land to the Muslims, to the Jewish people,
Nothing.
and why not me?
Exactly.
And when I went them, and even the judge said that the council should allot me the land.
That's right.
And what she said, that was the chief of the council, I don't know her name or what.
Yeah.
She said, okay, you have to buy. I said, well, you have leased it to them. No, she said, we have leased it to them. I said, well, lease it to me also. Well, she says, we haven't got enough space, but you have to buy. I said, where do I get the money from? Collect it from your community.
Wow.
See, Hindus, look at our temple
Yes.
in Newcastle.
Yes.
That temple was built in 1980.
Yes.
And at that time, there was only one mosque. It was in a small room.
Right.
And look at now, there are 5 mosques.
Multiple mosques.
And the Gurdwara,
Yes.
at that time, there was no Gurdwara.
Yes.
And now look at the Gurdwara, it's like a palace.
That's right.
And look at our temple.
Yes.
It looks as if, it's an office.
That's right. They haven't really done a lot to promote.
Because Hindus
Yes.
are money-minded. One. Secondly, they are cowards.
Yes.
Because see, I took the city council and I took the British government to the court.
That's right. Yes.
See?
And they were all coming and wanting to share the glory.
And thirdly, I was a Tory and they were Labour and Liberal.
Yes, that's right.
See?
That's right.
And that was also my downfall.
That's right.
But touch wood and God willing, I will get what I go for.
Excellent. So I can hear that you have your fighting hat back on, and you're going to take this forward. And there's a lot more
Yes.
battles to be
Yes.
done and won. And
Now I'm going all out for it.
That's
I
right.
might even go and see Prime Minister Modi.
Yes.
And I think he will have. I remember when I was looking for land, that Yoga Guru Ramdev, he was here.
That's right.
And he went and bought a island in Scotland. When I said, what was this?
What about this?
No, it's all talk.
That's right. Yeah.
Nobody has got the feeling for the Hinduism.
That's
Which
right.
is,
Yes.
everybody goes out for their name.
That's right. And the glory.
See, name.
You
name.
just think of people, the
Yes.
normal, ordinary people on the street.
Look, what is my life? I'm here, I don't go out, I wear this, I don't eat. I only go out, when you invite me
Yes.
or my daughter comes or this.
Yes. Yes. I know that. But a lot of people are benefiting and receiving blessings and healing from you, and that's what makes you happy. You always say that seeing people makes you happy,
Yeah.
and helping people makes you happy. So this is what's going on at the moment here, and after this talk by Baba Ji, we are going to put, for the people who don't know about the background of this funeral pyre campaign, what follows this talk with Babaji will be a history of the funeral pyre campaign that Babaji led.
I'll tell them, we lost the case at the High Court, which I'm going to put down there. The people can see that. And then we won the case at the appeal court.
That's right. Well, let's see it on the video. Yeah, the video is going to follow. People will see it. Yes.
Because my Guru always said that a person should live and die according to his own faith.
That's right. That's right.
See? Now, even in the Bible it says, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Right. Ashes to ashes applies to us. That's right. Dust to dust applies to the Christians and Muslims.
That's true. Who buried
so now, you know, that works.
That works very well, Babaji. Okay, Babaji, we just leave it at that, and we just tell people that to watch the video that follows, for those who don't know about the history of funeral pyre campaign by Babaji, and wait for more videos about this to come, because this is going to turn into reality, and the open air funeral pyre is going to become a reality in United Kingdom with Babaji's help and his blessing.
You pray for me, and let's see.
See what happens.
Wait and see.
Brilliant.
But I will go all out.
Absolutely.
I will go all out.
We have no doubt, Babaji. Yes. You will. That's great. Thank you very much, Babaji. That's great. Thank you.
Now, what happens when your religion demands one thing and the law another? A traditional open-air cremation of an Asian man in Northumberland has led to a legal wrangle. Funeral pyres have been illegal in Britain since 1930, but the local police let the ceremony go ahead out of respect for the family's religious beliefs. Our correspondent, Catherine Marston, is in Northumberland. Catherine.
At a secret location in the countryside around this village, an extraordinary scene, a funeral pyre, the first in Britain for decades. It's a religious ceremony, but open cremation is illegal in Britain. Religious leaders say, though, that they want to see more of them. The flames of an open-air funeral pyre, the first in Britain for more than 70 years. This Hindu ceremony frees the spirit and allows reincarnation. Earlier, before the pyre was lit, the family paid their last respects. As Sikhs, they follow the Hindu tradition of open cremation. Rajpal Mihat's family were desperate he be cremated this way after he was found drowned in a canal in London.
She says what she would have done back home, she's happy to do it here. And that has given us the satisfaction and peace of mind.
On the River Soar in Leicestershire, a family scatter ashes and petals. This was just last month. There was no open-air cremation for this family, but campaigners say more Hindus and Sikhs want to follow the long-standing tradition. It stems from the Hindu ceremonies along the banks of the River Ganges, the holiest river according to their faith.
This is the goddess of money.
Right. In a Hindu temple, the man who organised the funeral pyre in Northumberland says many more families want a similar ceremony. But the cremations authority says that's breaking the law. He tells me the law is outdated and doesn't reflect a multicultural society.
We have never asked for anything. And this is our religious right. This is our birthright. So I thought, well, we should go for it. And secondly, it's the mother whose son died. She requested me to do it exactly as it would have been done in India.
The dying embers of the fire mark an end to this ceremony, but campaigners say it won't be the first and last. They'll fight to continue their tradition.
It's believed to be Britain's first open-air funeral pyre for more than 70 years, and it was held at a secret location in Northumberland today. But afterwards, the police said it was illegal, despite giving the go-ahead earlier in the day. The 31-year-old Sikh who was cremated was found dead in a canal in London last year. Well, today's controversial funeral was part of a campaign to give people from different faiths more choice over how they're laid to rest. Sharuna Sagar reports.
At a secret location in the Northumberland countryside, a Sikh mother is about to cremate her only son.
Her only solace is the belief that his soul will rest in peace as long as religious ritual is strictly observed.
36 herbs that go in there, that not only purifies the body, it purifies the soul also. The people, when they come, they could see with their own eyes what's happening. Their feelings come out. And when they go back home, they're at ease.
Belief in reincarnation is at the centre of this funeral. Illegal immigrant Rajpal Mehat was found dead last December. His mother and sister were traced and brought over from the Punjab for his funeral, as his body was too decomposed to transport back home.
She says what she would have done back home, she's happy to do it here. And that has given her the satisfaction and peace of her mind.
Well, the funeral pyre is now well alight and it will burn here for up to 12 hours, tended to by mourners. Now, when the ashes are allowed to cool down naturally, they'll then be gathered up and then they're going to be taken to India, where the family will scatter them over the holy river Ganges. This is the first time an open-air funeral pyre has been publicly carried out in this country since the 1930 Cremation Act. Some say the existing law is solely concerned with the day-to-day running of crematoria and does not respect and reflect the last rites of different faiths and beliefs.
It's significant because all public servants should be questioning why they haven't been providing multicultural services for at least 30, 40 years. 30 years ago, for example, the Commission for Racial Equality did address the question of Muslim burials. The question then arises, why didn't they address the question of cremation, for Sikhs and Hindus in particular?
It's been at least 6 months since the Anglo-Asian Friendship Society, a charity based in Newcastle, made public its intention to hold a Hindu funeral just as soon as the opportunity presented itself. And not even a visit from the police earlier this morning was going to stop them.
On the face of it appears to be absolutely nothing illegal in what they propose to do. The position is they have a legal death certificate, they have permission to carry out a crematorium, and Northumbria Police want to recognise and respect their cultural and religious beliefs, and the funeral pyre will be going ahead.
Now the flames of this issue have been fanned once more. Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists and anyone else who welcomes the choice are now awaiting with interest to see if this Eastern religious tradition will be kept alive in the West.
Well, Sharuna joins us live from the Anglo-Asian Friendship Society in Gosforth now. Sharuna, despite an earlier statement by the police today, they're now saying that this funeral pyre cremation was actually illegal. Where do we stand with that?
Yes, they seem to have changed their tune a little since this morning. The police have now said further investigations have followed on, and they believe that offences may have been committed under the Cremation Act 1902 in relation to where human remains can legally be cremated. And they now say that they're discussing the matter further with the community, their partners and the local authorities.
And what has Newcastle City Council had to say about that?
Well, Newcastle City Council also issued a statement, and they said that they met with representatives of the Anglo-Asian Society and they discussed the proposal to have open-air funeral pyres and the legalities surrounding the issue. The council went on to say that they requested their own legal advice on the matter. They got that in April, and the advice that they got stated that any burning of human remains on pyres, as proposed, would be unlawful. Now, the Anglo-Asian Friendship Society, and behind me you can see them performing some of the funeral ceremonies ongoing from today. They've said that they did their own extensive legal research into this matter, and they insist it's a grey area. In fact, they feel so strongly about their cause that they're now preparing a case to take to the European Court of Human Rights, because they believe that it's every human being's right to live and die by their faith.
Thank you, Sharuna.
At a secret location in rural South Northumberland, Baba Ghai lights the funeral pyre in a ceremony never seen before in this country. Rajpal Mehat was 31 years old when his body was found in a canal in London last December. He'd been working in Britain illegally and the police had struggled to identify him. Numbers on his mobile phone led them to the Anglo-Asian Friendship Society in Newcastle, where Mr. Ghai was able to identify him and bring his family to England. Mr. Mihat's body was considered unfit to be flown back to India. But today his mother and sister were able to mourn their loss in a way they felt best.
With the help of Mr. Ghai, we are doing the most important thing for him now. By lightening his body on the funeral pyre, his soul will be released to find peace from torment he suffered in the last moment of his life.
Earlier, officers from Northumbria Police, acting on a tip-off, had called at the Society's Gosforth headquarters. The organisation's been at the centre of a campaign to allow traditional open-air cremations in Britain. Since the 1930s, it's been understood that burning a body outside registered crematoria was an offence, a position the government's Department for Constitutional Affairs continued to state today. But after half an hour of talks, the police stood aside.
And I've ascertained that on the face of it appears to be absolutely nothing illegal in what they propose to do.
Good.
The position is they have a legal death certificate, they have permission to carry out a crematorium, and Northumbria Police want to recognise and respect their cultural and religious beliefs, and the funeral pyre will be going ahead.
Thank you.
I'm absolutely adamant that it's legal. And more importantly, judges in the 19th, 20th and 21st century have been adamant that it's legal. I think if you ask 90% of lawyers, they may not quite agree, but I think any reasonable legal interpretation has to be based on the comments of judges, not of lawyers or civil servants.
Tonight, though, Northumbria Police said they believed offences may have been committed under the 1902 Cremation Act. Tomorrow, when the ashes have cooled, they'll be collected for return to India, where they'll be scattered on the sacred waters of the River Ganges. Neil Gander, ITV Tyne Tees, Northumberland.
First they said it was legal and then they said it wasn't, and tonight it seems Northumbria Police are still unsure whether the first traditional Indian open-air cremation ever held in Britain should have been allowed to take place at all.
Well, yesterday, grieving relatives gathered at a secret location in Northumberland for the funeral pyre. Tonight, as the debate into burning bodies continues, the dead man's ashes were collected and will be flown home soon. Siobhan Casey reports.
Here in a field in Northumberland, a grieving mother is comforted by loved ones as her son's funeral pyre is lit in a scene never witnessed before in Britain. Hindu tradition dictates that bodies must be burnt in the open air. Instead of choosing a Western burial, many Indian families fly the remains of their loved ones back home. If they don't have an outdoor burial, they believe there will be catastrophic consequences for the departed soul. But 31-year-old Rajpal Mihat had drowned in a canal in London. It took so long for him to be found and identified that his body was declared unfit to be flown back to India. So his funeral was arranged by the race relations group, the Anglo-Asian Friendship Society. But it was surrounded by confusion and controversy. Since the 1930s, it was thought that burning a body outside of a registered crematoria was an offence. Northumbria Police initially told mourners the funeral could not go ahead. But then, following a conversation with the Friendship Society's legal advisor, they said it could take place after all. Then, after the ceremony had taken place, and following advice from the government's Department for Constitutional Affairs, Northumbria Police said it could in fact have been illegal under the Cremation Act of 1902. It's still not clear if any charges will be brought. Northumbria Police say they're now discussing the matter further with their partners and local authorities. Meanwhile, as the legal wrangling continues, Mr. Mihat's ashes have now been collected and will be flown back to India.
Well, you've heard the arguments about funeral pyres, and we'd like to know what you think in our North East Tonight phone vote.
We're asking, should funeral pyres be legal? Let us know what you think on 09011 12 34 19. That's 09011 12 34 19. And you can press 1 for yes or 2 for no. You can also text your answer by sending TTTV yes or no to 63338. Calls cost 25 pence and texts cost 25 pence plus your standard network rate. And we'll let you know the results on tomorrow's programme.
"70-year-old Baba Ghai is a devout Hindu. He's come to the High Court in London, fighting for the right to be cremated, in a ritual that is routine in some countries but highly controversial here.
They think it's illegal. I don't think it's illegal. And that's why we have come to review that, because the law isn't very clear on that.
This is how Ghai would like to depart this world, in an open-air Hindu cremation ceremony that Hindus consider essential to the peace of the soul. But under British laws, cremations must take place in crematoria, and open-air corpse burning is not allowed. In 2006, Newcastle City Council turned down Ghai's application for a permit to hold an open-air cremation and ruled funeral pyres illegal. However, authorities turned a blind eye when he went ahead with a funeral pyre ceremony for a 31-year-old Indian man in the countryside. He was never prosecuted. Ghai is a world-renowned advocate of Anglo-Asian relations, whose works have been honoured by UNESCO and Amnesty International. Now, backed by strong support from Hindu organisations, Ghai is demanding the High Court clarify its position on open funeral pyres.
My generation, they want it very badly. They want to give us a land away from the city in a discreet place, where we can perform our own ceremony.
Opponents of the practice say it is unsanitary, hazardous to health and the environment. Calculations based on UN estimates of mortality rates suggest that in India alone 50 million trees are cut down each year to create funeral pyres, generating more than 8 million tonnes of carbon dioxide.
It is correct to say that the pollution from one of these pyres is significant. The combustion is not controlled in the same way as in a crematorium. There's no proper mitigation of the emissions, there's no chimney.
However, when it comes to carbon dioxide, the main greenhouse gas, the Indian pyres may actually be more environmentally friendly than crematoria.
Because they don't use fossil fuels, they use only renewable fuels, wood.
There's an economic advantage too. Many British Hindus still prefer the traditional funeral pyre ritual and choose to ship bodies to India for a proper ceremony, which can cost up to $5,000.
We will do it between 500 and 1,000. People are saving their money there as well.
The latest statement from the British Ministry of Defence firmly states, "There are inevitably competing views on the appropriate arrangements for disposing of bodies stemming from different views about religion, morals and decency. There's no plan to change the law on cremation." Ghai hopes he can convince the judge to see the importance of funeral pyres for Hindus before it's too late.
I'm a sick man. When I die, I want it.
Andrew Carey, CNN London.
The London High Court is currently reviewing a law that prohibits open-air funeral pyres. If it allows open-air pyres, then the 1.5 million British Hindus in the UK will have a choice of conducting their last rites in the open instead of in indoor public crematoriums. For the claimant, 70-year-old Devinder Kumar Ghai from Newcastle, this is now a matter of life and death, quite literally.
That's my religious right, and secondly, that's my birthright. See, and if I die, I want to have an open funeral pyre, and that's why, I thought I better clear that up with them. Because I want my son to light my pyre. I don't want the gas flame to light me.
In 2006, the Newcastle City Council blocked Ghai's attempt to establish a site for open funeral pyres. It said that all cremations apart from the ones at public crematoriums were banned under the 1902 Cremation Act. In 1930, new regulations were introduced, but open-air cremations were still illegal. Ghai's legal team says that the law is incompatible with the European Convention on Human Rights.
The case has been brought on the basis of Article 9 of the European Convention of Human Rights, which safeguards the right to religious freedom. And what we're saying is that the right to a open-air cremation is a manifestation of a religious belief.
Hindu groups say the choice of open-air funeral pyres should be available to people like Ghai.
We believe, Hindus believe, that in order to pass this body on to the next world, it's important that the proper karma or the kriya is done.
Devout Hindus in Britain who want open pyre cremations have been flying their deceased relatives back to India to hold the ceremony according to Hindu rites. The government here says that these are impractical and possibly illegal, but Hindus like Devendra Ghai insist that these are essential. The hearing continues. In London, this is Akanksha Banerjee.
This week, a Hindu man's battle to be cremated in the open air reaches the Royal Courts of Justice. Devinder Ghai is challenging Newcastle City Council, which has denied him the right to be burnt outdoors. His lawyers are expected to argue that traditional Hindu cremations fall outside of the 1902 Cremation Act, which regulates what happens inside crematoriums. Devinder Ghai has already tested the law by organising the first open funeral pyre in Britain since 1934. In July 2006, he presided over the cremation of Rajpat Mihat in a Northumberland field. The 31-year-old Indian immigrant's body was found in a canal in Southall and was, according to Mr Ghai, too decomposed to be flown to India. Afterward, Newcastle City Council ruled the cremation was illegal and the Crown Prosecution Service became involved. They decided an offence had been committed, but a prosecution was not in the public's interest. In March 2007, Sir Justice Andrew Collins gave permission for Devinder Ghai's lawyers to bring a judicial review forward. He ruled a hearing in the High Court was in the public interest. The campaign has caused controversy in the British Asian community. Some prominent Hindu organisations, such as the Hindu Academy, have described it as an outdated and unnecessary. Others, such as the Hindu Council UK, have come to support the right of Mr Ghai and his followers to be cremated as they wish. But a big source of controversy has been Mr Ghai's original claim to have support from members of the Sikh community. This has led to the collection of thousands of signatures from Sikhs who are angry that Mr Ghai wishes to associate them with his campaign.
The fact that he went around canvassing support from the Sikh community, including people from India, and then sort of like presenting that as if it was a fait accompli, that the Sikh community as a whole totally supported his need as if it was the same, that was what was objectionable and offensive. He may have changed his tone now, but nevertheless the damage has been done because he's caused a division within the Sikh community.
The case is due to be heard at the Royal Courts of Justice for 3 days. It's already been delayed for many months. It's likely Mr Ghai will instruct his lawyers to try and take the case to a higher court if his bid fails. As the case proceeds, many of Britain's estimated 560,000 Hindus will be watching events, along with 35,000 Sikhs who signed the petition against it. This is Sabrina Radmore for Sunrise TV News.
There you go, then.
Because we know a survey has actually been conducted where, you know, at least 1 million individuals, Hindus and Sikhs, were actually for, they would rather opt for an open-air cremation. Yeah. And we know that an open-air cremation is much cheaper.
An elderly man fighting for the right to have an open-air funeral pyre on his death is heading for London today to mount a legal challenge. Devinder Ghai is contesting Newcastle City Council's refusal to allow a designated site for natural cremations. Shiruna Saga has been talking to him ahead of the start of a judicial review.
This is the temple at the headquarters of the Anglo-Asian Friendship Society in Newcastle, and the members here are getting ready to go down to London for a judicial review. Now, Mr Ghai, it's been 3 years since you held a secret open-air funeral pyre in Northumberland, and it was secret because Newcastle City Council said it was illegal.
Yeah.
Now, tomorrow you're going to challenge that decision, aren't you?
Yeah.
Why is it so important for you to take your fight to London?
Because I want to be very clear on the law, because we think it's not illegal. Because one, it was banned in 1930, and there was a princess from Nepal who died here, and she was given the open funeral pyre. So if she was given the open funeral pyre, it's not illegal, one. And secondly, you see, there was a man who burnt his mother in the backyard, and when he went to the High Court, he was charged for fraud, but not for burning the body, because the judge said burning the body isn't illegal.
Some people might say it's a little barbaric. Why is it so important to you to have an open-air funeral pyre?
Because it's our religion, the holy books. Even our Pope says that we should have the open funeral pyre, because we can't do the things which we can do it only in the open, not in the chapel. So that's why it's very important for us.
So you believe that you should be able to die by your faith as well as live by your faith?
I live by my faith and die by. And that's what I'm going to tell the other people. Live and let the others live.
OK, well, tomorrow you have your day in court at the High Court and you're going to put forward your case.
Yeah.
How optimistic are you?
Very optimistic. So are my lawyers.
OK, well, we'll be bringing you more on this story tonight in Look North at 6:30.
An elderly man who's fighting for the right to be cremated in an open-air funeral pyre has left the northeast for London to mount a legal challenge. 70-year-old Devinder Ghai is contesting Newcastle City Council's refusal to permit a designated site for outdoor cremations, saying they're unlawful. But tomorrow, the Royal Courts of Justice will hold a judicial review into that decision. Sharuna Saga reports.
Praying for the gods to be on his side, devout Hindu Devinder Ghai is challenging the law so he can have a traditional open-air funeral pyre when he dies.
Because that's my religion, that's my belief. I've always lived with my religion and my belief, so I have to die with that.
Back in January 2006, the Newcastle-based Anglo-Asian Friendship Society, of which Mr Ghai is the founder, made an application for council land to hold traditional outdoor cremations. It was refused. 6 months later, one was held at a secret location in Northumberland. Newcastle City Council ruled that it was illegal, and it is this decision that's now being challenged.
Because it was banned in 1930, but in 1934, a princess from Nepal died, and she was allowed the open funeral pyre. And then in about 3 years back in Leeds, a man burnt his own mother in the backyard and claimed money from the DHS for her. And in the court, the judge said burning the body isn't illegal, but fraud, he was punished for the fraud.
Baba Ghai, as Mr Ghai is known, is now in poor health, and this human right is his last wish.
Because Hindus never asked for anything, you know. Now, if we can't have the marriage in the chapel, why do we want to cremate in the chapel? We want our own ground. Muslims have been given their own ground. Jews have been given their own ground. Why aren't we given our ground?
If this judicial review is successful, this could be the most significant campaign to promote Hindu religious freedom in British history. Sharuna Saga, BBC Look North, Newcastle.
Who wants to be cremated in an open-air pyre in accordance with his religious beliefs, has told the High Court that not being able to is a breach of his human rights. Today, on the first day of a judicial review, 70-year-old Devinder Ghai from Newcastle described crematorium facilities as a mechanised humiliation of dignity. He's challenging a ruling by Newcastle City Council, who refused to allow a designated site for outdoor cremations, saying they're unlawful. The hearing continues tomorrow. And he's fighting for the right to have his body burned in an outdoor traditional Hindu funeral pyre is tonight waiting to find out if his legal challenge has been successful. Devinder Ghai has been campaigning for outdoor cremations for the last 3 years. He's taken his case to a judicial review at the Royal Courts of Justice, from where Sharuna Saga reports.
Devout Hindu Devinder Ghai lives by his faith and for the last 3 days has been trying to persuade the High Court to let him die by it.
Our leaders, when they die, they get their last rites of open funeral pyre. The Bollywood actors, they get that. So why not I?
The judicial review has raised all sorts of issues, ranging from religious needs to environmental concerns. But the main question that the High Court has to answer is, are outdoor pyres illegal? Because back in 2007, a High Court judge told Mr Ghai that he could have a full hearing because there was evidence to suggest that it wasn't necessarily unlawful. But as this hearing demonstrates, the Ministry of Justice and Newcastle City Council disagree.
The case is a difficult one. Mr Ghai wants to manifest his religious belief as a Hindu to have an open pyre. He doesn't want to have an open pyre on a field, unregulated. He accepts the law has to be changed. The changes of the law would require a series of changes on environment, on planning and so forth.
Religious rights cases are very hard to predict, and this is a difficult case that could take weeks for a verdict to be delivered. But there is a little optimism in the air.
Well, it's very fair, and I've got a full faith in the British justice.
If outdoor cremations are eventually allowed, they'll be under strict regulations, so don't expect to see bodies burning on the banks of the Tyne. Sharuna Saga, BBC Look North, the High Court, London.
On to other news, and a Hindu man from Newcastle has lost a High Court battle to allow him to be cremated on an open-air funeral pyre.
Devinder Ghai, who's 70, says the pyre is central to his faith and essential to what he calls a good death. But a judge today ruled such cremations are illegal. Ben Chapman reports.
A spiritual ceremony to release the soul and central to the Hindu faith. So argues Devinder Ghai, seen here performing an open-air cremation 3 years ago. He's been fighting a decision by Newcastle City Council preventing the ceremonies. Today he lost his High Court case. Speaking from India, where he's visiting for medical treatment, he vowed to appeal.
We are fighting against Jack Straw. We are fighting against home safety. They say that it's unlawful. Well, okay, now they are not very clear on that, so let's see. What I'm asking is what's my birthright and what's my religious right. I know the final decision would be the Court of Human Rights.
But Newcastle City Council welcomed today's decision.
Under the law, the burning of human remains is only permitted in a crematorium. The judge at the High Court today ruled that that law is justified. But Mr. Ghai says it breaches his human right to religious freedom.
Dr. Anand is a GP and complementary therapist. Many of his patients are Hindu. He says it's important people are able to choose what happens after they die.
To be cremated in this sort of way, like in the west end of Newcastle, is absolutely not acceptable to any Indian. When we come to a foreign country, we adjust. I think the Indians have adjusted too much. And I really believe it shouldn't be like that. And I think the freedom should be there.
Mr. Ghai says for him this is quite literally a matter of life and death. He says he'll continue to fight for his dying wish to be heard. Ben Chapman in Newcastle.
Court of Appeal has ruled that Hindus here can perform last rites in open-air funeral pyres. This is a personal victory for 71-year-old Devendra Ghai from Newcastle, who fought a 4-year-long legal battle so that he could be given a traditional Hindu send-off.
Congratulations on this very big legal victory. And all of India is watching you tonight. Congratulations. And keep up the fighting spirit. Congratulations.
ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਕੁਮਾਰ ਜੀ ਕਹੀ ਲੰਡਨ ਚੋਂ ਹਾਈ ਕੋਰਟ ਤੋਂ ਕੇਸ ਜਿੱਤ ਗਏ। ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਸਮਾਜ ਹੈ, ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਮਾਜ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਦਾਹ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਧੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਾਣ ਵਧਾਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ।
ਸਾਡੇ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਕੇਸ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਜਾ ਕੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਸ਼ਲਾਘਾਯੋਗ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਹਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਾਰੀਫ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਘਈ ਨੂੰ ਭਾਰਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੁਲਾ ਕੇ ਸਨਮਾਨਿਤ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ।
Very, very happy. Now, if I go tomorrow, I will go peacefully. Because I know, see, these are all my kin. They will give me a good send-off.
Mr. Ghai's ailing health gives his campaign an added urgency. Says he and his family have spent £45,000 trying to win the right to have a traditional Hindu funeral pyre.
See, I'm a pensioner. I'm a disabled man. I run a charity. They made things very difficult for me. The legal aid I didn't get. I had the solicitors who were fighting for me for free.
A survey has actually been conducted where, at least 1 million individuals, so Hindus and Sikhs, were actually they would rather opt for an open-air cremation. And we know that an open-air cremation is much cheaper.
Well, it's been a really long and hard battle for you.
I think it's a start.
Here, a Sikh man wins the right to be cremated on a traditional outdoor funeral pyre.
Open-air funeral pyres
A Hindu man wins his appeal to be cremated here according to his traditional beliefs. A Hindu man has won the right to be cremated on a traditional funeral pyre. The Court of Appeal ruled that the wishes of Baba Ghai can be carried out within existing legislation. Greg Wood has been following a case which raised controversial questions about the place of cultural traditions in Britain.
A traditional Hindu funeral. The body has to be burnt on a wooden pyre, open to the air and the sunlight, so the spirit can be released into the afterlife. It's this sort of funeral rite which will now be permitted in Britain. Spiritual healer Baba Ghai had his original request for an open-air cremation refused by Newcastle City Council. But the Court of Appeal has now ruled that Mr Ghai's wishes can be accommodated under the law.
I wasn't sure, whether I will have a good send-off. Now, I'm happy. Even if I go tomorrow, I know the lads will give me a good send-off.
During his 4-year campaign, Mr Ghai organised this open-air Hindu funeral. It was illegal because it took place outside a crematorium. To comply with the law in future, ceremonies like this will have to be held in a more enclosed space. This appeal court ruling hinges on the legal definition of a building. Essentially, if a structure with no roof or open sides is considered by the law to be a building, then there's nothing to stop Hindus being cremated, as their religion dictates, on open-air wooden pyres within such a structure. The court was shown these images of a building in Spanish Morocco, which is used for open-air Hindu cremations. The plan now is to build structures like this in Britain. They'd need planning permission and they'd have to be licensed. It won't happen overnight, but this ruling opens the way for British people of all religions and none to request open-air cremations. Greg Wood, BBC News, at the Court of Appeal.
Well, Healer has won the right to be cremated on a traditional funeral pyre, according to his beliefs. The Court of Appeal heard that 71-year-old Baba Ghai's last wishes can be carried out within existing legislation.
A Hindu traditionalist has won a legal ruling giving him the right to be cremated in Britain on a funeral pyre. 71-year-old Baba Ghai, who describes himself as a spiritual healer, was appealing against a decision by Newcastle City Council in 2006 refusing permission for such a ritual. In today's ruling, the Court of Appeal held that the pyre would be lawful if it included walls and a roof with an opening. Samira Ahmed reports.
A victory for human rights or for divisive religious fundamentalism. 71-year-old Baba Ghai says he and his family have spent £45,000 trying to win the right to have a traditional Hindu funeral pyre on crematorium land, something Newcastle City Council had ruled illegal. But the Court of Appeal judges said it was compatible with the 1902 Cremation Act, and Mr Ghai was keen to emphasise he's getting what other religions have been getting.
Like Muslims got the land in the crematorium. Jewish people got the land in the crematorium. That's what I was saying, give me a land in the crematorium or part of the building.
Crucially, the judges did not grant Mr Ghai the right to a full open-air Indian-style cremation like this illegal one he organised in Northumberland 4 years ago.
I said, I want 4 pillars, a roof over it, sun to shine on my body, my son to light my fire, not a gas flame, wooden flame, and to collect the ashes, which he agreed and he gave it to me.
The Humanist Association, though, regards Mr Ghai's case as a personal victory rather than a religious one, compatible with the consumer right to choose to have your ashes fired into space or a burial at sea. Newcastle City Council says the Ministry of Justice will have to rule on how, in practice, local authorities will accommodate Hindu funeral pyres and all the health and safety requirements that go with them.
Welcome to Look North. The headlines this Wednesday lunchtime. After years of fighting, a Hindu from our region finally wins his battle to have an open-air funeral pyre. A devout Hindu from Tyneside has won his fight in the Court of Appeal to have an open-air funeral pyre. 71-year-old Baba Ghai was initially refused permission by Newcastle City Council 4 years ago. Today, judges ruled that funeral pyres are lawful. Shona Saga was at the Court of Appeal.
It took just a few moments for the Master of the Rolls, Lord Neuberger, to rule that Mr Ghai's wishes can be accommodated under current legislation. Mr. Ghai, you must be thrilled.
I'm very pleased and I'm over the moon for what I've got. Because I always said that it's not unlawful and it could have been accommodated in the crematorium.
And this ruling is very important for you, isn't
Very,
it?
very important, because see, now I can know I can go peacefully and my soul will have peaceful rest.
But it all hinged upon the definition, the legal definition of a building.
But see, that's what the judge asked me, you know what I want. I said I want sun to shine on my body, my son to light the fire, and it should be wooden flame and not the gas, and the ashes to be collected on the same day.
But not necessarily out there in public for everyone to see.
No, I said it would be four pillars, no roof and walled for the privacy.
Well, it's been a really long and hard battle for you.
I think it's a start.
It's the beginning.
It's the
well, today's ruling is basically a paper victory, because for open-air funeral pyres to become a reality, many more practical issues have to be sorted out. Sharuna Saga, BBC Look North, the Court of Appeal in London.
In the headlines on tonight's Look North, appeal court victory for the Hindu who wants to be cremated in the open air. Hello and welcome to Wednesday's Look North. Tonight, victory for the devout Hindu fighting for the right to an open-air funeral pyre that breathed new life into an old man's dreams. Devout Hindu Devender Ghai today won his bid for the right to be cremated on a traditional open-air funeral pyre. Judges said the pyre would be lawful, overturning a decision by Newcastle City Council in 2006. Reaction from the council in a moment, but first, Sharuna Saga reports from the Court of Appeal in London.
It took 4 years and today just a few minutes in Court 71 for Devender Ghai to be granted his last wish.
How do you feel?
Very, very happy. And I'm very grateful and thankful to the media, especially BBC. It has drained me physically, mentally and financially.
In the end, the ruling by the appeal court that open-air funeral pyres were lawful didn't boil down to offending sensibilities or indeed the environmental impact. It boiled down to what constitutes the legal definition of a building under the 1902 Cremation Act.
Photographs of natural cremation sites in Spain, Gibraltar and India were submitted in evidence. The Court of Appeal found that these structures could be called buildings because they were substantial, solid and relatively permanent.
They specifically said it needn't be a fully enclosed building. There may be pillars rather than walls. There may be an open roof or a canopy. There is a wide margin of flexibility.
This legal challenge has come a long way since Mr. Ghai and his supporters carried out an outdoor cremation in Northumberland without Newcastle City Council's permission in 2006.
I said I want sun to shine on my body, my son to light the fire, and it should be wooden flame and not the gas, and the ashes to be collected on the same day. Because see, now I can know I can go peacefully and my soul will have peaceful rest.
Mr. Ghai's ailing health gives his campaign an added urgency. Today he's won a paper victory, but from tomorrow the challenge of making this a practical reality begins. Sharuna Saga, BBC Look North, the Court of Appeal in London.
Well, late this afternoon, Newcastle City Council gave this reaction to today's ruling.
We see this really as a national issue now as to how the government and DEFRA and government departments will address the particular issue. But I think all it means is that the building as he proposed is a building under the Cremation Acts, and after that any application would be subject to planning application and certainly environmental considerations.
Good afternoon and welcome to the lunchtime news from ITV Time Tees and Border. A devout Hindu from the region has won his court battle to be allowed a cremation on a traditional funeral pyre. Newcastle City Council originally ruled that the application by Devender Ghai was not legal, but the appeal court has ruled that it is lawful and it'll take place within a building. The council says it'll still have to meet planning and environmental standards. Mr. Ghai was delighted with the verdict.
Muslims got the land in the crematorium. Jewish people got the land in the crematorium. That's what I was saying, give me a land in the crematorium or part of the building. Which they said no, but they just say yes, I should get it.
And from our studios in Newcastle tonight, Devender Ghai is joining us.
Mr. Devendra Ghai, first of all, congratulations on this very big legal victory. And all of India is watching you tonight. All of India is watching you tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Ghai, can you tell us what made you go in for this legal battle? What did you really want to do?
Well, see, my father always wanted an open funeral pyre when he died. That was in 1979. Because we couldn't send the body to India. We couldn't afford it. So, when he died, I was very, very upset. Okay. Then I found out that in 1932, the Princess of Nepal was given open funeral pyre in London. So I thought, well, we start. So, and unfortunately, we found a body, and the mother wanted me to give the open funeral pyre to that boy. Because the body was lying there for 6 months, and the mother traveled all the way from Kartarpur, and she asked me. So when I approached the city council for a place in the crematorium, I was told, no, it's unlawful and illegal. So what I did was, I did that in the field. I gave him the open funeral pyre in the field. And they weren't very happy with it, and they said it's unlawful, illegal. So I thought, well, let's go to the court and clarify it. And at the High Court agreed with the city council that what I'm doing was illegal and unlawful. So we approached the appeal court, where there were 3 top Lord judges. And what they said was, the definition of the building could be various. A building can have 2 things at a time, like a beauty salon and a restaurant. So the judges asked me what I would be happy with. I said, well, as long as there are 4 pillars and a roof over it, and instead of a gas flame, my son lights my fire with a wooden flame, and I collect my ashes on the same day, I would be happy.
Mr. Ghai, Mr. Ghai, did you fight this legal case for yourself or for the Hindu community, Hindu and Sikh community in the United Kingdom?
No, I tell you. See, I'm a pensioner. I'm a disabled man. I run a charity, see? And now what I did was, I was collecting the money for my charity, but I fought it for all the Hindus, Sikhs, and not but anybody who wants an open funeral pyre. See? And what was it? I had some opposition for some Sikh extremist groups, and some from the self-appointed Hindu leaders also, that, well, we don't want it here. So I thought, well, I should go for myself, that I want it. Because I've been here for 54 years, and I paid all my taxes. So, okay, if I get it, they all get it.
Mr. Ghai, when you went in for this fight, because I find this an extremely unusual kind of legal case, did people tell you? Were there people there who said, Mr. Devendra Ghai, you are in the United Kingdom. Don't try and change the laws of the United Kingdom, because you cannot do what you do in India in the United Kingdom. What I mean is, were you not being provocative to some people in the local community? Did they not attack you?
Oh, no. See, the thing is, I was saddened. See, my charity, if you go on the website, and I'm the founding president of Anglo-Asian Friendship Society, and which is one of the largest interfaith charity in Northeast. I wasn't given any grants by the city council. They made things very difficult for me. The legal aid,
I didn't get, I had the solicitors who were fighting for me for free. And you know, whenever we went for the legal aid, they were saying, no, the chances of winning the case are very remote. But see, I did give the hope. I'm a struggler, and I achieved what I went for. And secondly, see, the Hindus, I don't know, many Hindus were under the impression what I was doing was unlawful and illegal. Because that's what the government said, and that's what the city council said. But since the ruling yesterday, I've been getting a lot of support. And secondly, the Secretary of State, Jack Straw, made a silly comment that this is abhorrent, this could be very smelly and very dirty for the host community.
Right.
See, and that united the Hindus up. Because see, what they said was, what has been going on for thousands of years, how could it be abhorrent and dirty?
Absolutely.
See, all those Indian leaders or the celebrities who die, they always have an open funeral pyre.
Absolutely.
And the Queen is represented there.
Well,
so how could that be abhorrent?
Well, Mr. Devender Ghai, let me say you are an unusual guest I have on the News Hour tonight. I'm so glad I have you on the show. I want to just say once again, my guest on the News Hour tonight, who deserves to be congratulated, is the 71-year-old Devender Ghai, who in a landmark judgment that he has fought on his own in Britain's Court of Appeal has won the right to be cremated after his death in an open-air funeral pyre as per Hindu religion. Mr. Devender Ghai, once again, congratulations and keep up the fighting spirit. Congratulations and thank you for joining me on the News Hour this evening.
A British Court of Appeal has ruled that Hindus here can perform last rites in open-air funeral pyres. This is a personal victory for 71-year-old Devender Ghai from Newcastle, who fought a 4-year-long legal battle so that he could be given a traditional Hindu send-off.
I'm 20 years younger. Not only that, now if I go tomorrow, I'll go peacefully. Because I know, see, these are all my team, they will give me a good send-off.
The law on cremation in the UK provides for cremations within a crematoria or a designated building. The British government's stand was that a building is understood to be a closed vault and roof structure, not conducive to funeral pyres. Devender Ghai's team argued otherwise.
The ruling was based on the simple definition of the term building under the 1902 Cremation Act. Mr. Ghai has contended that he is happy to conduct open pyre funerals in structures without a roof or even without walls, which could still be described as a building.
The Newcastle City Council, which has so far blocked Ghai's attempt to establish a site for open pyres, says that the ruling does not take into account planning and public health legislation. Ghai may have won his religious freedom in court, but he'll still have to face health and environmental roadblocks. With Akansha Banerjee in London, in New Delhi, Akansha Pradeep.
71-year-old Devender Ghai, who describes himself as a devout Hindu spiritual healer, says he can now die a peaceful death, knowing that his send-off will be according to his religious beliefs. He has been fighting for the right to be cremated on an open-air funeral pyre. The Court of Appeal today allowed cremations on funeral pyres in Britain with the caveat that they be held in a structure with walls and a roof with an opening and not an open field.
The mother wanted me to give him an open funeral pyre as it's done in India for the release of his soul. I went to the city council and they refused. They said, no, it's unlawful. Okay, now judge says it's not unlawful. Because, see, in the crematorium, it's a building. Building can consist of so many things. A building has a restaurant, a building has a this, and he could have, the city council could have accommodated me there. Now, see, they give the land to the Muslims in the crematorium. They give the land to the Jewish people in the crematorium. That's what I asked for.
Ghai was refused a permit for a cremation site in a remote part of Northumberland in northern England in 2006. The Newcastle City Council had said the burning of human remains anywhere outside a crematorium was prohibited under the 1902 Cremation Act. With Swati Maheshwari in the UK, Ambika Varma, NDTV.
ਖਬਰਾਂ ਵਿਸਤਾਰ ਨਾਲ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਦੇ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਹੁਣ ਖੁੱਲੀ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਆਪਣਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਅੰਤਿਮ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਣਗੇ। ਇਸ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਦੀ ਕਾਨੂੰਨੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਇੱਕ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਮੂਲ ਦੇ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਘਈ ਨੇ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਰਟ ਆਫ ਅਪੀਲ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਜਿੱਤ ਲਈ ਹੈ।
ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ 'ਚ ਵਸਦੇ ਭਾਰਤੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਭਾਰਤੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਖੁੱਲੇ 'ਚ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ। ਜ਼ਿਕਰਯੋਗ ਹੈ ਕਿ 1902 ਦੇ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਐਕਟ ਦੇ ਤਹਿਤ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਖੁੱਲੀਆਂ ਥਾਵਾਂ ਤੇ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਗੈਰ ਕਾਨੂੰਨੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਤਰਕ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਖੁੱਲੀਆਂ ਥਾਵਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਪ੍ਰਦੂਸ਼ਣ ਫੈਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇਣ ਯੋਗ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹਿੰਦੂਆਂ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਅਗਨੀ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਮੂਲ ਦੇ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਵਾਸੀ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਘਈ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਮੰਨਦਿਆਂ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਤੇ 2009 ਵਿੱਚ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਹਾਈ ਕੋਰਟ ਤੋਂ ਹਾਰਨ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਘਈ ਨੇ ਕਾਨੂੰਨੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖੀ। ਹੇਠਲੀ ਅਦਾਲਤ ਤੋਂ ਹਾਰਨ ਉਪਰੰਤ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਘਈ ਨੇ ਅਖੀਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਅਪੀਲ ਕੋਰਟ 'ਚ ਕੇਸ ਲੜਿਆ ਅਤੇ ਜਿੱਤ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤੀ। ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਘਈ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਅਦਾਲਤ ਨੂੰ ਕਈ ਤਰਕ ਦਿੱਤੇ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਧਰਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਅਗਨੀ ਭੇਂਟ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਤਰਕ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਧਰਮ 'ਚ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਰਿਵਾਜ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਇਸੇ ਵਿਧੀ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ 'ਚ ਮਿਲੀ ਇਸ ਜਿੱਤ ਤੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਖਰ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ।
ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਉੱਤਮ ਸਰਵੋਤਮ ਵਿਧੀ ਦਾਹ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਦੀ ਦੱਸੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਕੁਮਾਰ ਜੀ ਘਈ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਹਾਈ ਕੋਰਟ ਤੋਂ ਕੇਸ ਜਿੱਤ ਕੇ ਲੰਡਨ ਚੋਂ ਹਾਈ ਕੋਰਟ ਤੋਂ ਕੇਸ ਜਿੱਤ ਕੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਸਮਾਜ ਹੈ, ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਮਾਜ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਦਾਹ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਧੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਾਣ ਵਧਾਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਵਾ।
ਅਗਰ ਇਹ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਸੰਸਕ੍ਰਿਤੀ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਯੂਕੇ ਵਰਗੀ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਕੇਸ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਜਾ ਕੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਸ਼ਲਾਘਾਯੋਗ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਹਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਾਰੀਫ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਐਸੀ ਸੰਸਕ੍ਰਿਤੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੇ ਵਰਲਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦੀ ਰਵੇ, ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਇੱਕ ਕਾਮਨਾ ਵੀ ਹੈ।
ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਘਈ ਨੂੰ ਭਾਰਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੁਲਾ ਕੇ ਸਨਮਾਨਿਤ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਨਿਊ ਡੈਸਕ ਤੋਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਮਿਸ਼ਰਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਜੇਸ਼ ਇੰਦਰਪਾਲ, PTC ਨਿਊਜ਼, ਲੁਧਿਆਣਾ।
Baba Ji says, ask any guru, ask any sant, ask any religious leader of Hinduism, and they'll all tell you that the correct way is an open-air cremation. So the spirit, the soul, has peace. If the soul is sent on its journey in the proper, traditional, ancient manner, there is peace for the soul. If not, the soul is distraught. I want a place which is according to the true traditions of Hinduism and Sikhism. So we have the books, the Shivji's statue, and anything that goes with that religious culture. In Britain, Muslims and Jews are given special spaces for their burial. I've never met a Hindu who would be prepared to marry in a church, so why do we do the departing of the Hindu soul in a chapel? How do we know that the ashes we collect from the crematorium is only of the person that you have cremated? Are they concerned that in the cremulator these ashes don't mix? When we were in Pakistan helping with the earthquake, Babaji with the Law and Human Rights Minister Rana Ijaz Ahmad Khan, and he decreed the Hindu crematorium on Band Road in Lahore would be opened. This was miraculously followed by the opening of the Krishna temple in Pakistan too.
लाहौर के कृष्णा मंदिर रावी रोड में दिवाली की सबसे बड़ी तकरीब हुई, जिसमें हिंदुओं के साथ साथ दूसरे मज़ाहिब के लोगों की बड़ी तादाद भी शरीक थी। दिवाली की इस तकरीब में शिरकत के लिए भारत के अलावा बरतानिया से भी कई अफराद आए हुए थे। दिवाली की इस रंगारंग तकरीब में हिंदू बरादरी के साथ साथ दीगर मज़ाहिब के अफराद ने शिरकत करके दिवाली की खुशियों को मजीद दोबाला कर दिया। जियो न्यूज़, लाहौर।
Greece had no facility for any cremation for any religion. Babaji went to sort out and Greece started allowing cremations. When Babaji returned to Britain, there was a body lying for 6 months in London, unclaimed and unidentified. Babaji spoke to this family in the Punjab. The family's father had died, but the mother and sister were there. The mother said she had had constant dreams for the last 6 months about her son, asking for help. Initially, the British authorities at the High Commission in Delhi were not allowing this single girl to come to Britain, but Babaji went all the way and they were allowed to come. The mother was very keen that her son had an open-air cremation. Her mother had this deep request and Babaji fulfilled her dreams. After this open-air cremation, her son appearing in her dreams and saying, "Mother, help me, please help me, also went away. The case went to court and finally the judges said it was not illegal to have open-air cremation. Babaji spent all his resources on this wonderful project. First of all, he used every single contact he had. Secondly, he spent £45,000. He got no government grant. And most importantly, at his old age, he suffered a stroke in this gallant effort. Many temples and gurdwaras supported Babaji's move. We got support from the Shankaracharyas in India and several Indian politicians of very high stature. When we got any sort of opposition, it was always from self-appointed Hindu leaders who had neither following nor were very convincing Hindus. While this case was going on, the government was thinking of cremating 2 to 3 bodies at one time to save money. And worse than that, the heat generated by the body burning would be used to heat swimming pools. Because of our case, that seemed to die away. So Babaji has achieved a lot. We went to India and we can tell you that the reason why electric crematoria was started was for people who had unclaimed bodies, who were destitute, too poor to have wood and proper rites. Also, Jains don't like open-air cremation, that they say in wood there could be creatures who could get killed, so they'd rather choose the more clinical method.
ब्रिटेन से वहाँ पर आप जानते हैं कि हमारे लिए कोई शमशान भूमि नहीं थी और घई साहब ने लड़ाई लड़ी और लड़ाई लड़के वहाँ शमशान भूमि का
Our charity meets people and provides spiritual, legal and health needs to people free of cost. Our sessions are open to all religious creeds. We also went to the Israeli parliament to help release funds for the Palestinians. We also asked them to bring down the dividing wall, and they said because of suicide bombers they couldn't do that, but they would release funds for the Palestinians. We then went to Nepal to make sure that the Christians and the Muslims were getting a fair deal. We were taken around to be shown the burial grounds for them and the church and the mosque, because we were wanting to do for the Christians and the Jews and the Muslims just the same.
Court of Appeal has ruled that Hindus here can perform last rites in open-air funeral pyres. This is a personal victory for 71-year-old Raldu Ghai from Newcastle, who fought a 4-year-long legal battle so that he could be given a traditional Hindu send-off.
Congratulations on this very big legal victory. And all of India is watching you tonight. Congratulations. and keep up the fighting spirit. Congratulations.
ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਕੁਮਾਰ ਜੀ ਕਹੀ ਲੰਡਨ ਚੋਂ ਹਾਈ ਕੋਰਟ ਤੋਂ ਕੇਸ ਜਿੱਤ ਗਏ। ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਸਮਾਜ ਹੈ, ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਮਾਜ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਦਾਹ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਧੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਾਣ ਵਧਾਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ।
ਸਾਡੇ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਕੇਸ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਜਾ ਕੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਸ਼ਲਾਘਾਯੋਗ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਹਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਾਰੀਫ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਦਵਿੰਦਰ ਘਈ ਨੂੰ ਭਾਰਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੁਲਾ ਕੇ ਸਨਮਾਨਿਤ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ।
Very, very happy. Now, if I go tomorrow, I will go peacefully. Because I know, see, these are all my team. They will give me a good send-off.
Mr. Ghai's ailing health gives his campaign an added urgency.
Says he and his family have spent £45,000 trying to win the right to have a traditional Hindu funeral pyre.
See, I'm a pensioner. I'm a disabled man. I run a charity. They made things very difficult for me. The legal aid I didn't get. I had the solicitors who were fighting for me for free.
So a survey has actually been conducted where, at least 1 million individuals, so Hindus and Sikhs, were actually they would rather opt for an open air cremation. And we know that an open air cremation is much cheaper.
Well, it's been a really long and hard battle for you.
I think it's a start.
घई साहब कहते हैं कि आप किसी संत या किसी गुरु, हिंदू गुरु से पूछो कि अंतिम संस्कार कैसे होता है। हिंदुओं और सिखों का अंतिम संस्कार अग्नि से ही होता है। तो हमारे आत्मा के शांति के लिए हमें दाह संस्कार सही हिंदू तरीके से होने चाहिए, खुला आसमान के नीचे और नेचुरल पायर के ऊपर, ना कि कोई गैस फर्नेस में हमें डाला जाए। घई साहब चाहते हैं कि एक स्थान हो जहां ओपन एयर क्रीमेशन हो, जहां शिव भगवान की मूर्ति हो। हमारे लोग शरीर को खुद ले जाते हैं, धोते हैं और सही तरीके से उसका दाह संस्कार करते हैं। पश्चिम में ये सारे प्रोफेशनल्स को दे दिया गया है और हम बिल्कुल इन्वॉल्व नहीं रहते। यूके में मुसलमानों को और यहूदियों को सही जगह दिया जाता है उनके बेरियल के लिए, तो हमें क्यों नहीं मदद मिल सकता है। अभी यूके में जिस तरह से बॉडी को क्रीमेट किया जाता है, हमें क्या पता किसका राख किसको मिलता है, क्योंकि ये सारे मशीन में डाल करके मिक्स किए जाते हैं और सबके अलग अलग राख तो कभी नहीं मिलते हैं। सबके राख एक दूसरे से मिला करके दिए जाते हैं। जब हम पाकिस्तान गए थे तो राना इजाज़ अहमद खान से मिले और उन्होंने ये फरमान जारी किया कि लाहौर के बंद रोड में जो हिंदू लोगों का क्रीमेशन ग्राउंड्स था वो खोला जाए, और आपको बड़ी खुशी होती है बता करके कि हमारे हिंदू लोग का अब पाकिस्तान में सही तरीके से दाह संस्कार हो रहा है। इसके बाद एक कृष्णा मंदिर हमारा जो पड़ा था उसको खोला गया और अब हिंदू लोग वहां जाते हैं।
लाहौर के कृष्णा मंदिर रावी रोड में दिवाली की सबसे बड़ी तकरीब हुई, जिसमें हिंदुओं के साथ साथ दूसरे मजाहिब के लोगों की बड़ी तादाद भी शरीक थी। दिवाली की इस तकरीब में शिरकत के लिए भारत के अलावा बरतानिया से भी कई अफराद आए हुए थे। दिवाली की इस रंगारंग तकरीब में हिंदू बरादरी के साथ साथ दीगर मजाहिब के अफराद ने शिरकत करके दिवाली की खुशियों को मजीद दोबाला कर दिया। जियो न्यूज लाहौर।
इसके बाद ग्रीस में पहली बार क्रीमेशन अलाउड है। ग्रीस बहुत ही कैथलिक कंट्री है जहां बेरियल ही सिर्फ अलाउड होता था, अब ग्रीस में भी ये क्रीमेशन अलाउड हो गया। जब हम इंग्लैंड वापस आए तो हमें पता चला कि एक व्यक्ति डूब के मर गया था ग्रैंड कनाल में। यह व्यक्ति का शरीर 6 महीने से कोल्ड स्टोरेज में पड़ा हुआ था, कोई उसे पहचानता नहीं था। बाद में पता चला कि हिंदुस्तान में उसकी माता को वो सपने में आता था और बहुत तड़पता था। हम इसके बाद दिल्ली गए क्योंकि लड़के के पिताजी तो नहीं थे और माता और बहन को यूके लाने की कोशिश में हमें ब्रिटिश हाई कमीशन से भी लड़ना पड़ा कि ये सिंगल लड़की को इंग्लैंड जाने दो अपने भाई के अंतिम दाह संस्कार के लिए। फिर हमने इस लड़के का दाह संस्कार किया। माता और बहन के होते हुए बच्चा जो अपनी माँ के सपने में आता था, कहता था माँ मुझे मदद करो, मदद करो। जब दाह संस्कार हो गया ये सपने भी बंद हो गए। 2009 में उन्होंने हाई कोर्ट से संघर्ष किया और बाद में अपील में वो जीत गए, जिसने कहा कि ये इलीगल अनलॉफुल नहीं है ओपन एयर क्रिमेशन। घई साहब 45,000 पाउंड अपनी कमाई को खर्च किया और बहुत ही समय और बहुत ही दिमाग लगा करके ये कोर्ट में इतनी बड़ी विक्ट्री उन्होंने पाई। गोल्डन टेम्पल ने हमें सपोर्ट किया। बाद बड़े सारे मंदिरों से और गुरुद्वारों से हिंदुस्तान के सपोर्टिव चिट्ठी आने लगे और हिंदुस्तान के कई नेताओं ने हमें काफी ऊंची पदवी दी। घई साहब ने इंग्लैंड में जो जीत जीती है उसके वजह से हम हिंदुओं का विश्व में सम्मान बढ़ गया है। देवेंद्र घई साहब को तारीफ करना चाहिए। उन्होंने अकेले ये संघर्ष किया इंग्लैंड में और उन्होंने ये इस बात को अंग्रेजों को बता दिया कि मुझे अपने लिए सही दाह संस्कार चाहिए। ये हमारा जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है कि अंत्येष्टि हमारी इच्छा, हमारी हिंदू धर्म के अनुसार हमारा होना चाहिए। हिंदुओं और सिखों का अंतिम संस्कार अग्नि से ही होता है। बल्कि अगर हमें कोई ऑपोजिशन मिला तो वो सेल्फ अपॉइंटेड लीडरों से जो कि हिंदू कहलाते हैं उनसे मिली। तो इन वजहों से भी हमारा जो अभियान है ओपन एयर क्रिमेशन का, इसके वजह से बहुत सारे बुरे चीज नहीं हुए। पाकिस्तान में भी कुछ लोग चाहते थे कि बॉडीज जलाए जाएं इलेक्ट्रिक क्रेमेटोरियम से, गैस क्रेमेटोरियम से, किंतु ये बॉडीज उनके हैं जो लावारिस हों, जिनका कोई पूछने वाला नहीं हो और उनका इस्तेमाल बहुत ही कम है। गरीबों के अलावा जैन लोग लकड़ी नहीं जलाना चाहते हैं क्योंकि उसके अंदर चींटी कीड़े मकोड़े मर जाएं, तो ठीक है, उनका ये चॉइस है। मगर हम हिंदू लोग विश्वास करते हैं कि ओपन एयर क्रिमेशन ही हमारे लिए सही है, हमारे पुराने धार्मिक ग्रंथों के अनुसार है।
ब्रिटेन से वहां पर आप जानते हैं कि हमारे लिए कोई शमशान भूमि नहीं थी और घई साहब ने लड़ाई लड़ी और लड़ाई लड़के वहां शमशान भूमि का
है। एंग्लो एशियन फ्रेंडशिप सोसाइटी और भी काम करती है। इतवार को हमारे पास हिंदू, मुस्लिम, सिख लोग आते हैं और चूंकि लीगल एड की ज़रूरत हो, स्पिरिचुअल एडवाइस की ज़रूरत हो, हेल्थ मैटर्स पर उनको ज़रूरत हो, तो हम सारे इनकी कमी पूरी करते हैं। कोई चार्ज हम नहीं लेते हैं। इसके अलावा हम इजराइल भी गए थे। इजराइल में पैलेस्टीनियों को जो पैसा देना बाकी था, हमने कुछ पैसा रिलीज करा दिया उनके लिए। हमने कहा आपने जो ये वॉल बनाया है कंक्रीट का, उसको तोड़ दीजिए। उन्होंने कहा सुइसाइड बॉम्बर आकर के हमें मार देते हैं, इसीलिए ये वॉल हम नहीं तोड़ पाते। फिर हम नेपाल गए क्योंकि वो एक हिंदू स्टेट है और वहाँ पर हमने देखा कि मुसलमानों और क्रिश्चियंस के लिए चर्च भी हैं और उनके शरीर को दफनाने के लिए जगह भी दिया गया है, क्योंकि हम ये नहीं चाहते थे कि हिंदुओं को कुछ मिले और मुसलमानों और क्रिश्चियंस को उनका हक न मिले। तो ये भी काफ़ी सफल रहा।